Hi everyone, Greg Meskel here, welcoming you to the 2020 Cutino Awards pre-show. As you can tell by now, we aren't in the Olympic Club in San Francisco, California. Due to COVID-19 and health precautions, no public event this year. And due to COVID, no women's college water polo finalists either, as their season was cut short this past March. But it doesn't mean we won't do our best to recognize excellence in collegiate water polo for both the men and the women tonight. We have a great show on the way before we send things off to the Olympic Club for our presentation. We're going to hear from all three finalists on the men's side. Reigning Cutino Award champion Ben Halleck, Rowdy and Luke Pavillard will also be joined by the first Cutino Award winner in men's water polo, Sean Kern. My longtime broadcast partner, Cami Craig, will join us, and much more. But we start things off with some explanation. What is the Cutino Award? Why should you know about it, and why is it important? Well, first, let's show you how it compares to other big-time sports awards you might know of in the college space. If you're familiar with the Heisman Trophy, if you know about the Naismith Award, the Mac Herman, that's the Cutino Award for college water polo. It's honoring the best in the game, named after Peter J. Cutino, the longtime Cal Bears head coach in men's water polo, and it's been an honor celebrated for the better part of 2 decades plus. We've told you how the award compares to other sports. How is the honor decided? Well, for the Cutino Award, Division I coaches only get a vote. You can only vote for the gender you coach, and past recipients, they do get a vote. That's a relatively new addition to the voting process and a great way to keep the history of the Cutino Award alive as you bring back past winners and involve them in the process. Speaking of past winners, here's a look at the all-time winners. The very first honors back in 1999. Bernice, the Furnace Orwig from USC, and Sean Kern from UCLA. We'll hear from Sean Kern shortly. After that, Tony Azevedo, a feat many feel will never be equaled. 4 straight Cutino Award honors. In the mid-2000s, it was all about UCLA and USC. On the women's side of things, the likes of Olympians Natalie Golda, Lauren Wanger, Kelly Rulon, Courtney Mathewson, my partner Cami Craig, a back-to-back victory, as did her Trojan counterpart J.W. Krumpholtz on the men's side, the 2008 Olympic silver medalist. Into the last decade, and the Stanford women taking control. The Cardinal women winning the Cutino Award 5 straight years. Meanwhile, the University of the Pacific shining bright. Balash Erde with back-to-back victories. Following Erde, the USC men with 3 straight wins. And in 2017, our first East Coast winner, as Ashley Johnson of the Princeton Tigers takes it for the women. And then you fall back to last year. Mackenzie Fisher winning for the Stanford Cardinal for the first time since 2015. Ben Halleck, also a winner for the Stanford Cardinal. And you'll be hearing more about Ben Halleck. He's a finalist yet again this year for the Cutino Award. Well, we just told you the full history of who has won the Cutino Award. Let's go way back to the 1999 and 2000 winner on the men's side, the Olympian Sean Kern, the former UCLA Bruin, joining us earlier this week to talk about his Cutino Award memories. Sean, this is, I know, going back some years in the old memory banks, but when you think about the Cutino Awards and being the first to do it, what's the first thing that comes to mind for you?
First thing that comes to mind are our great teams at UCLA that we had in the late 90s there. We won the championship in 99 and 2000. And I think there's something very special about collegiate water polo and being able to play with, teammates that you live together, train together, do everything together. So it fosters a very great relationship with everybody. And I mean, that's the first thing is all the teammates, coaches, that bond you have together, winning championships is the first thing that comes to mind.
At the time, because it's a brand new award, did it have the same prestige? Today everyone talks about it as water polo's Heisman. Did you have a sense at the time of what it was you were winning and what it meant?
That award is very special, and I think you kind of realize, hey, this is the first Cutino Award winner, and the ceremony was great, and you're kind of being recognized for what you've done. So, and then also getting to meet, Mr. Cutino as well was great too. So that was an added benefit.
We've talked to a couple of winners, and one of the finalists this year, Ben Halleck, is similar to you in that wins the national championship and then goes to the Cutino Award. He's a finalist this year. We're not sure if he's won it again or not. But for you, how much sweeter was it to win an award like that on the heels of having a team championship?
Oh, it makes everything. We all know, a team sport, when you get individual achievements like that, is a reflection of the team. I mean, anybody that thinks differently is fooling themselves. So we had really special teams at UCLA at those late 90s, and we went through a lot to get where we ended up. So yeah, any individual awards were all kind of reflective of the journey that we all went together and where we ended up. So exactly.
And then when you win it again the second year, is that a little bit of disbelief? Are you surprised that you get picked for it again? Did you feel like that second year was a stronger year for you personally? What's your memory of that?
So 2000, I had to take the first couple, I think it was like 8 or 9 games off for the Olympics in 2000. And then, we came back and we had some issues with Adam Wright's eligibility. That was its own deal. So that senior year in 2000 was a little bit of a roller coaster in terms of taking the entire, summer leading up to Sydney to train away from the UCLA team, getting back, playing that. So yeah, it was a lot kind of just higher highs, lower lows, versus the 99 season where we kind of built our way towards, the NC2A championship then. So very different those 2 years were.
How do you describe the bond of that UCLA team over those 2 seasons with the success obviously the team had, the way you were able to play? What's your memory of just that group and the way you're all able to work together?
That group was special. I think, what made us special was what we went through. And if I tell you, there was 6 of us that were all seniors in 2000. There's Adam Wright, Blake Wellen, Dave Parker, Andy Bailey, Brian Brown, and myself. So we all started as freshmen in 97. And our record in 97 was like 14-12. It was brutal. So, and keep in mind in 97, we were coming off of UCLA 95 and 96 championships. So we had a target on our back as a UCLA program, yet in some instances we started 7 freshmen, 6 field players, 1 goalie. So we really got our butts handed to us on a couple of games, which hurt, but you learn from it, you grow together, and we kind of learned from 97, then 98, 99, and then, put it together in those last 2 years. So a lot of it is that journey you go through together with your friends, and, ended up in great results towards the end.
So now 20 years since your last Cutino Award. I know it makes us all feel old. 21 since the first one. Where do these moments live in your mind now? We're talking about water polo kind of coming in and out of your life here and there. What's your thought of these honors now, some 20 years later?
They're great. I mean, you just realize how hard you had to work to get to a particular place. I've said it before in this, the journey that we had with the team was fantastic. And, those years at UCLA, I look back so fondly of, in the water, out of the water, joking with teammates, going to school every day. So, like I said earlier, it's like a different life almost. I'm sitting here, I'm professional Sean now, but yeah, you go back and like, I can throw on the Speedo again, and then you get in the water and you can't even get your head above the water, and you're like, okay, never mind, I can't.
Sean, just a final thing, folks are missing water polo now so much. I know that you don't play all that regularly, but what has the sport meant to your life? Why will it always bring a smile to your face?
I've always loved water polo, like for what it is in terms of, it's always taken great aerobic ability, anaerobic ability, thought process, and it's so much joy to just like get in the water and go out when you're in shape. Maybe not now, but go out and just throw the ball around, score some goals. Yeah, always look fondly of it. And who knows? I have a 9-year-old and a 5-year-old boy. Maybe they'll take it up, and I can live vicariously through them.
Want to thank Sean Kern again for joining us. Always great to get historical perspective, and no better person to talk to on the men's side than the winner of the first two Cutino Awards. He was a dominant force for UCLA back in the 1999 and 2000 seasons. And now we turn to our first of three finalists tonight. And speaking of dominant forces in front of the goal, you can't look any further than Ben Halleck, the 2016 Olympian, last year's Cutino Award winner. And now he arrives as a finalist here in 2020, a national champion. This past December, Halleck and the Stanford Cardinal defeating the Pacific Tigers in Stockton, California to claim their first national championship since 2002. For Halleck and the Cardinal, redemption from a year ago when they lost the title at home against USC. How did Ben and the boys do it? Well, Halleck scored 73 goals. He's closing in on 200 in his career. Safe bet he'll cross over that mark come this season. He had 22 multiple goal games, and who can forget the thrilling finish in the semifinals of this year's NCAA championship against USC, all part of a campaign for Halleck that's helping him get ready for the 2021 Olympic Games coming next summer in Tokyo, Japan. I checked in with Ben earlier this week to look back at last year's Cutino Award win, the victory for Stanford in the NCAA final, and what lies ahead for the hopeful two-time Olympian. Different scenario for you. You're the returning Cutino Award winner, but now you go into being a finalist as an NCAA champion. How much more does it mean to have that title with this honor?
Yeah, I mean, I remember last year, I think, during the similar interview, we talked about how much Cutino meant to me. And obviously it means a ton, but you know, what meant more was winning the championship with my team. You know, the ultimate goal of our sport is to win an NCAA championship. So I would say it just means more just to have won last year with my teammates, with my brothers, and then I'm just honored to be back here as well.
Looking back to the season before, 2018 and then 2019, you make that NCAA final, you have that tough match against SC in your own pool, and then you come back and get the chance to play them again in the semifinals in Pacific, and that's one of the all-time classics over the last couple of years. You score the game winner in overtime. What's your memory of that game, and what was such an up and down emotional game?
My memory of that game, I'd have to say, just sort of the up and down of it, without trying to get too caught up in it. You know, in the game, you obviously don't want to get too high and too low, but that game was like nothing I've experienced before. Obviously, we had built a huge lead and sort of let them come back into it. But you know, what I remember the most is just how calm everyone stayed once they did come back, and how confident we were that we were, you know, we're still going to do it. And I think that's just attribute that to all my great teammates who had confidence in themselves and me.
What are your memories of that final play and of the game-winning goal?
I would say just in the huddle before, you know, we had a play that we wanted to run. We knew the look we were going to get, and I just the confidence that Quinn had in the pass, that you know, guys like Parker coming off the bench, you know, we hadn't run that play many times with him in practice, but he knew exactly what to do. So I would just say the confidence and the readiness of everyone who was coming off the bench or just ready to go.
No disrespect to Pacific, who you then play in the finals, but sometimes a semifinal can be almost like a cathartic experience, especially with USC being this team that had gotten to the finals for more than 10 straight years in a row. They had been in the NCAA finals. So you get past them and you get into the final. How much does that win just kind of supercharge the whole group to then go and take the championship?
Yeah, I think it was no secret that we had some demons that we needed to get out with USC, especially after last year. And you know, right when the NCAA brackets came out, that was a whole big deal as far as, you know, Stanford and USC playing in the semis. But to us, it was almost like, that's awesome. We get to play them when we're completely fresh. We don't have to have this semifinal game against Pacific or against Pepperdine, whoever it was going to be in the semifinal game, and then have to play them the next day. So we were excited to do that. And then once we won that game, it was just a steamroll of confidence. You know, every game that we watched that we had played against USC earlier in that year, we watched it and we said, we have all these opportunities. We know we can win. But then able to put it together. And then after that, it was almost like nothing could stop us.
For athletes like yourself that have been able to have some success and then get a chance to pursue it again, and I think about one of your former Stanford classmates, Maggie Steffens, who has won multiple titles and talks about, well, the dream remains the same. Just because I did this one thing doesn't mean I don't want to do it again. I'm curious, is it similar for you? You know, you've won an NCAA title, you've won a Cutino Award. Do the goals remain the same, even though you've done something that everyone would consider kind of the bucket list items in college water polo? What drives you to try and keep doing it again, to try and win another title, win another big award to represent your team?
Yeah, and obviously after winning a national championship at Cutino, it's a great feeling that you can share with your teammates. But the only thing better than winning a national championship is winning 2 national championships. And I think sort of, once you sort of get over the initial excitement of, a month or a couple weeks, a month, whatever it may be, you can sort of, hunker down and realize that there's a new goal that's just as important to you and you want it just as badly. And that's on you, and that's on also your teammates to sort of, keep you accountable, not to get lackadaisical. But it's just a continual hunger that you have to have in order to get here.
You're in the midst of training for another Olympic Games. Obviously, that's been put on hold now with this pandemic. What's that challenge been like? You were months away from finding out, do you make a second Olympic Games roster, going to Tokyo, and now you have to reset all of that, and now put that kind of essentially behind another college season in theory. How have you adjusted to all of this?
Just a ton of flexibility. I think that's something that everyone right now is dealing with. Is just, things are changing really quickly, and you have to be able to be malleable as well. So I think just sort of rolling with the punches, figuring out my schedule as best I can, mentally preparing myself to be ready for a college season, no college season, whatever it may be. But just always staying ready. And
of course, you've talked about this in the past, but the goals that the team had for Rio, not where the group wanted to be. Given it's a younger group and everyone's trying to find silver linings, does having another year for this group to gel with Team USA perhaps serve as a benefit as you go into Tokyo in 2021?
Of course, right when the Olympics got postponed, and we immediately talked to the team how we can use this to our advantage. And, we're always talking about, we're a very young team. We have other teams who are, been playing together for 15 years. And while at some point, the national team has to accept that we're going to be young, another year can only benefit us. Everyone in college, even out of college, is getting, 1 year older, 1 year stronger. 1 more year together can only be a positive for us. And just to look at the other teams, 1 year older is only a good thing for us as well.
We've talked with some of your fellow finalists, Rowdy, Luke, and of course they come from areas outside of the U.S. And I was asking them about the Cutino Award and what they were hearing from friends and family, and they said, well, some people don't really know it exists. They're of course familiar with the college water polo system in the U.S., but they have to be told, oh, this is like water polo's Heisman. Why is it important, whether you win this award or not, but just for the sport you love, why is it important that people know about an accolade like this? To me, I think it's a big thing that people should care about it because it'll help elevate water polo. But in your mind, why is it, again, whether you win or not, important for this award to have that prestige like a Heisman or a Naismith Award or things you see in other sports?
Every sport, football sort of starting tradition has their Heisman Trophy, as in football, which sort of carries a historical significance, some sort of tradition that you can look back on. And obviously with the Cutino Award, the Olympic Club sort of carries that tradition. It sort of gives you sort of a gateway to look back into the history of water polo, and it gives something, I think, for young kids to sort of, look forward to aspire to be one day. So I think it provides a good link. Water polo is a pretty small community, but I think it provides a pretty good link for, sort of the history and the future of water polo to sort of come together.
Excellent stuff, Ben. Congrats again on being a finalist. Best of luck. Looking forward to seeing you back in the pool with Team USA in Stanford very soon. You can't talk about the Cutino Award without talking to someone from the Cuttino family. And once again, we have the pleasure of being joined by Anna Cuttino, the daughter of the late Peter J. Cuttino. Anna joined us before our digital ceremony tonight to tell us all about what this honor has meant to the Cuttino family and what it means to the world of water polo. Always a special time of year, Anna, to talk with you when we talk Cutino Awards. I know this is one like any other in that it'll be a digital one. We won't all get to be at the Olympic Club, but still an exciting moment for you and the family to be able to present this honor.
Oh, absolutely. And we're certainly disappointed that we all can't be together for many reasons. And We love that event and being close to our water polo family, but we know it's the best thing to do. And, we're just honored every year that we can celebrate together.
And even though we can't all be together, I was excited as Cutino Awards were coming around, because I felt like it's been kind of a little bit of a downer time, not able to play water polo, not able to get together, and this could be kind of a positive thing to get everyone excited and at least digitally bring folks together. Do you sense people are excited about this, even though they can't get together? It's still something exciting to look forward to.
I do, because we still need to honor these athletes. It's unfortunate that the women's season wasn't long enough. It was a great season. I think there was also the first time there was a Division III championship. I mean, these are glorious things that have happened in the water polo community. So there's so much to celebrate, and we need to celebrate these young men and for what they've been able to accomplish during their career at the collegiate level. And there's always something to celebrate. So
as we look at the finalists for this year on the men's side, and you have Ben Halleck, of course, the returning winner from a year ago. The Cutino Award does have a history of repeat winners over the years, going back to the very first winner in Sean Kern, who will also be part of our digital program here as we get excited for the announcement of this year's winner. But adding to Ben, you have Luke Pavillard from Pacific, you have Rowdy from Bucknell. How great is it to have that kind of geographic diversity? So you have the East Coast represented, Bucknell, their first ever finalist for the Cutino Award. What does that mean to bring in someone from a school that's never had it before?
Oh, I think that's fantastic. To see it building, water polo building throughout the United States. I mean, the East Coast has a presence, but it's just building stronger and stronger. And you see it building in Texas and Iowa, and all other places. It's wonderful. And, Ashley won it 2017, I think. So just to bring more awareness to the sport, and that anyone can play anywhere, it just brings a great platform. And I think now that at the collegiate level, you'll see kids that can now go to school in the East Coast and play a sport they love, and they can compete at a high level. It just brings more opportunity for more kids. And really, that's the dream, isn't it? That you can compete and you can get your academic goals accomplished at the same time. So it's fun, and then to watch it come to fruition at the end of the year.
In talking with some of our finalists earlier this week, they had talked about, and two of them are from outside the U.S., Australia and Europe, and talked about how their friends and family still kind of learning about what the award means when they hear that they were finalists. And often we use the comparison, well, it's water polo's Heisman Trophy, and of course it means something a little bit extra special to your family with your name being associated with it. But just in general, why is it important that this award becomes more well known? In my opinion, if you love the sport of water polo, you should be well aware of its highest honor. That'll help grow the game and grow fans. But for you and the Olympic Club and everyone that helps put this event on, why is it important that people know more about this honor?
Well, I think there's a lot of reasons. I think that water polo itself is on the cusp of being recognized as a top athletic event. And I think as we continue to have these awards and we have these competitions, we have international, domestic competitions, we have youth programs up to master's programs. If you look at some of the players that were even on my dad's high school team, they're playing in masters in 70 and over. I don't think that many people realize the longevity of the sport. And I think as we start to increase the awareness of it, we increase the value of it, we increase the family of it. Every time you go to the Olympic Club, it's family. It's the water polo family. When you go on the pool deck, when you see other coaches that have played against each other that are now coaching together, that that are referees now who used to be wanting to throw a ball at a referee, whatever that may be. This water polo family, I think, is quite different than many other sports because, again, it's older, but yet it's quite young. Women's water polo 2000 was the first Olympic. NC2A was 2001. That's very young. So we're building this community with our female athletes. We're building a different strength, and that's huge for our young girls. For the men's program, we're building and growing. Our pools are filled. We're building more pools. We're having people swim in the afternoons as they get older. We're all trying to build a healthier community. And I think that if the Cutino Award does that this much, I mean, that would be honoring my father. I mean, you talk about the championship, but building a community that's based on humanity and giving back, that's who my father was.
Anna, great to talk with you. Last thing here, as we look at this digital presentation of the Cutino Awards, how much will this excite you and everyone else next year to be back and have the actual event in person?
Well, it's going to be great because, well, hopefully we'll get to hear JT speak because he was supposed to be the keynote speaker this week. And JT is phenomenal as he's done at Stanford, and he was a player there during the Dante time. So that was fun to watch. And so I'd love to hear him speak, and miss Chris. I mean, Chris Doherty, I mean, he missed the Olympics in 1980, and he's been a speaker there for every Cutino Award, so we miss him and all the players, and so many people come back and share that night, and just to be there with the families of the nominees, you know. And for some reason, I just feel that he's in the room. He was always somewhere in the room. You know, he never really was much with us in the room, but you always knew he's in the room, and somewhere someone was laughing. So it's a good feeling to be there and be together. And I know we'll be together in spirit. And we just want to congratulate all the nominees and all the people that have put so much into making the award, the Cutino trustees and the Olympic Club, and to making it a successful event, either through Zoom and at the club.
Once again, thanks to Anna Cuttino for joining us. You can't talk Cutino Awards without talking to Anna Cuttino and the Cuttino family. We're looking forward to joining her next year back at the Olympic Club on site in San Francisco. Now on to our next finalist, and this was a history-making performance because for the first time, a Bucknell Bison was chosen as a finalist for the Cutino Award. The school out of Lewisburg, Pennsylvania, puts forward Rowdy Yoksimovic, and the high-scoring senior. He delivered in a major way this year for Bucknell, bringing them back to the NCAA championship. Has a fantastic story, making the journey from Europe to Pennsylvania, where he made an immediate impact with Bucknell. 139 goals this year, and all-time just behind the legendary Scott Schulte, as he has 527 goals in his career, 714 points. Another All-American selection in 2020, and yet again his conference's Player of the Year. Rowdy, a great player, a great story. We caught up with him earlier on this week to learn about his journey and what this past season and his time at Bucknell has meant. Rowdy, this is a huge moment for Bucknell water polo. You're the first person to ever be nominated for the Cutino Award. What has that meant to you and the Bucknell program?
Oh my God! Well, it means the world to me. Honestly, when I found out that I was even nominated for a Cutino Award, it wasn't something that it wasn't a goal of mine that I set in place beginning of senior year or junior, and I said, oh, I want to be a Cutino Award finalist or a winner or whatever. I played the game to win the championships and hopefully make it to NCAAs, and that was my only goal and the team's goal as well. That's what we focused on. I never focused on the individual achievement. I knew they would follow if I played well and if I competed the hardest I could. Honestly, for Bucknell program, it is something that we have never done. It is something that has never happened, as you said before, and I hope that this kind of pushes Bucknell program and really shows how good John McBride as a coach is, and how good the program itself is when it comes to recruiting, and the team itself, all my teammates. I hope that this kind of shines some light on the program and people start to pay attention, because it is a really good program, and we were kind of unlucky in the past few years to not make it to the NCAA championship, but this year that's changed, and I hope that we caught some people's eyes.
You talked about what this has meant to a program like Bucknell, and that hopefully people will see your name and learn more about the program in general. You come from an area in the world where water polo is huge. It is a big deal. I think people see you then go to Bucknell and you're putting up 100-goal seasons, And this is no offense to Bucknell, but how does someone like that end up in Lewisburg, Pennsylvania? What was your journey to Bucknell, and why was that the right fit for you?
It came down to the coach, John McBride. He did a phenomenal time recruiting me. He really stepped up and opened his kind of arms to me when it came to Bucknell program, showed me what it is and how I can benefit from it. Now, initially, when I began kind of presenting myself to U.S. programs and wanting to, when I actually decided that I wanted to go and get an education and play water polo in U.S., I obviously had my mind open, and I thought that maybe I can go play at the Big Four, USC, UCLA, Stanford, Cal. However, my English at the time wasn't as good as it is now. Any of my teammates can tell you that. My coach can tell you that. But so I think one of the problems was that I come from a single parent household. My dad died in 2012. And so my mom really didn't have much financial support that she can present to me at the time. And so one of the big things for me was that I had to have gotten 100% scholarship, financial aid, whatever it is, and not just school paid for. It had to be housing, food, or something close to 100%. And it was almost impossible to get that at any of the top four schools, because unless you're Dusan Mandic or somebody who's already made a name at the senior level, when by the age of 18, 19, that you can get that money at the Big Four schools. So I looked towards East Coast, and my academics wouldn't allow me to go to Ivy Leagues, nor did I have a desire at the time, because I was really scared how my English was going to turn out. One of my ultimate fears was that I was not going to be able to follow, and that ultimately I would drop out after a year. And so I think John McBride kind of gave me the support that I needed when it comes to my English. He told me that it's good enough, that he kind of pointed me towards some certain areas where I could do better. And also he really put his foot down and neck on the line when it came to me and promising me 100%. And so he went to the administration and said, hey, this kid is somebody I believe in, somebody that can help this program grow. And I hope I've done him right, because he definitely has changed my life in more ways than I can imagine.
That's an amazing story, and it's really an impressive bond between you and your coach. And you end up now going down as one of the all-time great players in Bucknell history. Do you feel like in some small way you've repaid the faith that Coach McBride had in you?
I truly hope that what team and I have done over this past 4 years has helped McBride kind of paint a picture of what Bucknell is. And I truly do hope so. If there's any recruits out there listening to this or anything like that, that they actually pay attention to what this man has to say and what this program has to offer, because it's not just water polo that you get there. You get friends for life. And so I do hope that I've repaid a small favor, because I truly do think that I will never be able to repay him fully, because moving somebody from a developing country to U.S., one of the best countries in the world, and some may say the best, and giving them a chance to better their life, have a better career, and when it comes to both water polo and education and job and everything, and kind of help my family. That's just, I don't think it's anything that you can ever repay. So I hope that over the years I help McBride and the Bucknell program as much as I can.
I know you mentioned that he passed away when you were younger, but what if any, impact did your dad have on where you're at now in water polo?
Oh, well, honestly, I think if he was alive, I think if he was alive, I might have not even been in US. I think him passing away pushed me to kind of work harder and always think about, hey, I'm doing this for him, or it would be great that he was here to see it, kind of a thing. And so I think right now what he does is he just drives me to work harder and kind of go for the goals that I've set in place even when he was alive, which is to play at the Olympics. And US gives me a great shot to do so. And Bucknell has given me a platform to kind of show my talents and abilities and present myself in the best light. So I know he's there with me. And so I hope that if I do make it, that'll be something that I think he would be proud of. And I'm not saying he's not proud of me yet, but I just think that would be kind of cherry on the top.
And then just the last thing for you, Rowdy, if it is announced that you are the winner of the Cutino Award, what would that moment mean to you?
As I said, it would be a huge honor. It would be a blessing to be named a winner, and I do think that Peter Cutino and the award that has been named after him is something that is cherished and is appreciated in U.S. water polo through collegiate level and national team. And so I think that winning that would be ultimately the kind of number one individual award you can get. And somebody that Peter was a coach, a player, and everything that he stands for and that everything he has done, winning a championship 8 times is ridiculous. I haven't made it to semis once, so being able to be named to get an award named after him is just an honor.
Rowdy, we appreciate you taking the time to talk with us, and best of luck as your water polo adventure continues. We know there are more great games ahead. And from one water polo lover to another, we now bring in my longtime broadcast partner and Cutino Award show co-host, 2-time Cutino Award recipient, 3-time Olympic medalist, Cami Craig. And talked with Cami about what the Cutino Award experience meant to her. She was in the same shoes as Ben Halleck some 10 years ago. Won the honor, then came back, won an NCAA championship, and was a finalist again. What was that experience like? Cami tells us. Hey everyone, now I'm joined by my usual partner during our Cutino Award broadcast, Cami Craig. Cami, I know we can't be there together in person at the Olympic Club. A bummer this year, but great to have you join us.
Oh, it's so awesome to be here. I know I will miss our spot in the room at the Olympic Club this year, but glad that we're able to pivot and figure out ways to still get the party rolling, if you will.
Cami, we love to have you as part of this show, especially with your history with the Cutino Award, a 2-time winner with USC. One of the finalists this year, Ben Halleck, a very similar road to what you traveled in that Ben won the Cutino Award, then won the NCAA championship, then won another Cutino Award. You followed a similar journey. What do you remember about being in the room when you were going for your second Cutino Award?
Sure. I think what's interesting is the second time that I was nominated for the Cutino Award was actually the first time that I got to be in the room. So the first time that I was nominated, I ended up sending in a video because I was traveling with the U.S. national team at the time, and we were in Russia. And I can remember it to the day I was sitting on the bus. We were headed to the pool for training in Kryshi, Russia. And, I didn't have an international plan or anything on my phone. And I remember Adam scrolling on his phone and glancing over and saying, "Hey, you just won Cutino." And I was like, oh, like in my mind, like I was with all my teammates. I had other teammates who were also nominated for the award. And I was really excited about it, but kind of had this interesting kind of feel about it because I was in a room, in a bus full of my teammates and was kind of like, whoa, like exciting, and then I was thinking about the video that I pre-record and how I was going to be playing in the room and how awkward I probably must have looked, saying thank you in this video, not knowing if I was going to win or not and having it play aloud. But, that was my first experience of winning Cutino. And then being able to actually go to the Olympic Club and stay at the facilities and enter the room in which they hold the event and be a part of, the history that happens at that event, and the different players and the stories that are being told and the other athletes that are represented there. It's really, really a special event to be a part of. And I don't have parents or siblings that played the sport. So to be there and actually experience that type of rich history and go through an event like that was really, really special.
We're talking with Cami Craig here, two-time Cutino Award winner. This year's field, Ben Halleck, Luke Pavillard, Rowdy Yoksimovic, Bucknell from Pennsylvania having their first ever finalist. You're an advocate for the growth of water polo. How special is it to have a school that's never had a finalist and one from the East Coast have one this year?
I think, it's just a great example of water polo can be anywhere. And it's a great representation of the talent that we have nationwide. And this is hopefully the first of many more, and great to be the first. And to show that, they're expanders. He's an expander at this point, to show other athletes that you don't have to be on the West Coast at, some of the schools that we see over and over and over again, in the lineup of things for water polo, and to have his name and Bucknell's name in the mix of things is welcomed and pretty exciting when you think about, the growth and how we're expanding with our sport of water polo.
Unfortunately, no women's finalists this year. The women's water polo season deemed too short to have a finalist for the Cutino Award. I know that you spent a lot of time talking with athletes, working with athletes that had their seasons cut short, and they're trying to kind of process those feelings of loss around not having what for some was their senior year or a year they were really looking forward to. What's been the general message you've been sharing with those folks that try to kind of understand how they manage dealing with the pain of a lost season?
Sure. I think the general message is it's okay to feel that loss and mourn that loss. It's completely out of our control, right? And a lot of our athletes aren't alone in it. We're in this situation with the world, right? And so no matter how much kind of time, energy, effort, or sadness we put into the loss of these seasons, we can't change it. We can't get it back. So I think feel the big feelings that come with that, mourn the loss, and then think about how you're going to take those steps moving forward. And right now is just kind of tending to where our athletes are right now, and maintaining maybe where they're at, or giving their bodies the rest and the break that they really need. It's a grind being a student athlete. It's a grind being a student athlete and being a member of a national team. Every pocket of time that you have off is now being used to train even harder and greater and longer, right? And so I think maintaining, stay moving, stay healthy, stay safe, give yourself the mental and physical break that this pandemic is offering, and mourn the loss, and know that, athletes, we are trained to deal with adversity. We are trained to face difficult times, and we're mentally tough. And so, I feel really good about how a lot of our athletes around the world are managing this and know how to manage it and how to rise to the occasion and take care of themselves in it.
You're well aware that, of course, the Olympic Games postponed as well, and so many folks have talked about, an extra year to prepare, an extra year to get excited that Olympic Games are going to be such an event in 2021, and wondering that about the college season in 2021. If you can kind of tap into your old college athlete mindset, if you were one of these players that had to wait a year to play again, how fired up do you think every women's college water polo player is going to be to start off the season in 2021?
Oh, absolutely. I even think about, every year coming back to your team and what it's like when you first walk on the pool deck and you start seeing everyone trickle in. You're like, hey, it's so exciting to be around that energy. And no doubt you have a ton of work that needs to be done. Athletes are going to have to regain some sort of fitness, but that muscle memory, they're never going to forget how to play water polo. It's just kind of building that fitness level back up, and kind of, getting the rust off. But the excitement that comes into showing up on a pool deck with teammates that you haven't been around for a while, there's no greater feeling. And no doubt these girls are going to be so excited and be kind of walking into that with a new perspective and fresh eyes of really what a privilege and honor it is to be playing collegiate sport, to be representing your university and partaking in and participating in the sport that we love. It's truly, it's a gift, and it's a privilege. And, this is what this time, this giant pause in the world is providing us a lot of insight around, is just kind of how lucky we truly are to be living the lives that we've been living,
Cami, great memories as always. Always a pleasure to catch up with you. Cami Craig, two-time Cutino Award winner. Thanks so much for joining us here, and we're looking forward to being back in the room together to host next year's show.
Absolutely. Thanks, Greg, and best of luck to all the finalists.
If you're not fired up for college water polo after a conversation with Cami Craig, you should definitely check your pulse. She brings such good energy, and looking forward to having Cami join me next year back at the Olympic Club for our live Cutino Awards show. Now we turn to, last but not least, our third finalist and a return nominee. Luke Pavillard was a Cutino Award finalist for the Pacific Tigers 2 years ago. He has fought through injuries in his career in Stockton and has made it back as a finalist yet again here in 2020. He was part of a stellar year for Pacific as they made it all the way to the national championship game in their home pool, coming up just short to the Stanford Cardinal, but Pavillard played a pivotal role throughout his time in Stockton. This past season, more of the same. 64 goals, 34 assists. He was good for just about 3 goals a game. Yet again, the Golden Coast Conference Player of the Year. Yet again, a first-team All-American. And Pavillard, the Perth, Australia native, well, he joined us from his hometown earlier this week. Got up nice and early to talk with us here on the Cutino Award pre-show about his last year in Stockton and what he'll miss most about his time as a Pacific Tiger. So again, you're a finalist for the Cutino Award. You've been through this before due to a great season with the Pacific Tigers. What does it mean to you to be given that honor and to have it happen for a second time in your career?
Definitely always a huge honor. Anytime I can represent the school, the program, it's something that I enjoy. Having said that, I definitely am big on the team aspect of the game and know that, no play is a team, and without the hard work of the rest of the boys at UAP in both of those years, I don't think I would have been able to accomplish much.
Pacific has been on a tear as of late, especially moving to the Golden Coast Conference. You have this amazing season last year, getting all the way to the final of the NCAA championship. I know that the dream was to win it at home, and it was oh so close, but what are some of your favorite memories from this past season?
Beating USC for the first time, and beating Cal for the first time. In my first year in 2015, we had a good roster, and then for the middle couple of years there, we didn't really have the good runs against the Pac-12. They definitely showed why they're cut above the rest. So this year, when we will be able to get those wins over SC and over Cal, it meant a lot, and it really kind of brought together everything the team had been trying to do over the past year. There are a lot of moments for sure, a lot of close games, a lot of individual highlights. Anytime Luis throws a helicopter, I think it's pretty awesome. Things like that. But just kind of cherishing all the memories in my last year, knowing that, when you get there, everyone always says how quick it goes, and then you're in your last year and you're playing your last games. So the whole season I'll cherish forever. But specific moments were wins over teams like that, and then qualifying for NC2As was, getting an automatic bid instead of winning GCCs. It was definitely a different feeling. Kind of going into that, there was a lot more dread than just knowing that we're qualified. So there's that as well.
When you go to a home game at your pool, it's one of the best environments in college water polo. How do you describe what it was like to play in front of those fans that are so excited and so loud and cheering so hard for the Tigers?
It's awesome. I would say that some of my games at UAP would be the biggest crowds I've ever played in front of personally. So anytime you're playing in front of, a number of people that, you've never played in front of, it really makes you excited, want to play well, stuff like that. UOP is different for me just because, you know, we have so many people that support and look up to the polo team. I feel like we set a good standard for sporting excellence, I'll say, across the campus. And so anytime we're playing a good game, all the teams come out to support us, and we try and repay that and go to their games and to cheer them on. So it's, you know, people say the Tiger family, and it's a bit of a cliche, but definitely I feel like the athletics community at UOP was like a family. So it definitely made it easier to get rowdy people at the game and, you know, support the other teams.
Pacific has long had a roster of athletes from all over. So not just international athletes like yourself, but they also brought in kids not just from California, Florida, anywhere in the country. James Graham would turn over any stone to find someone that could help. What's it like to bring all of those styles together, different countries, languages, and everything, and make it one team?
You know, definitely a lot of ups and downs. I've had a lot of coaches, a lot of great coaches in my time, and having James was just an addition to one of those. The way he reads the game and approaches training with how he wants us to get better, it was just a completely unique style, and you know, never experienced something like that before. And so I think from a lot of the European players and, you know, players around the country coming in, it was so new that we were all learning it together, you know, and so it's pretty easy to buy in because, you know, what James was trying to do, you know, to win a national championship for the first time, you know, it was really easy to buy into that energy that he brought. So I thought coming in, you know, from being an international player, I thought it was a pretty easy transition to make when, you know, there were already a few other guys that are in the same position. So it's easy to kind of go through it together, you know?
Sure. And what will you miss most about your time at UOP?
Oh, the team, for sure. The people, for sure. I made friends for life. Guys that I only got to spend a little bit of time with my freshman year, through to guys that also came in as other internationals that I was with for 4 years in Ege and Andrea. Just people that I still talk to every day while I'm back in Perth that, you know, I'm making sure are all right going through this COVID thing. And so that would be the one for sure. And then after that, I'd say the experience of, you know, living, you know, in another country for 4.5 years and, you know, getting to experience that and grow and mature. So I'd say that I'd put it as those two things for sure.
I know this is a tough one to answer, but if it turns out that you're the winner, and I have no idea who the winners will be at this moment, but if it's you, what will that mean to you, and what sort of reaction would you have?
And as I said before, like I've always tried to play water polo as like how many people I can get to be on the goal scoring list, not how many I score, you know. And I would, you know, gladly end the game with 0 goals if the team wins, compared to scoring, you know, the 20 and losing, you know. That's, you know, I think anyone, you know, who likes playing those team sports would agree with that. And so, you know, winning would be awesome, that my peers, you know, believe in my skill. But I would definitely want to thank the teammates that did all the work to get the spotlight on me and get me in positions to be able to, you know, lead to our success.
What's next for you? You're done at Pacific. How much of a role will water polo still play in your life going forward? Is there national team? What's ahead for you?
Hopefully a lot. The plan was to go to Europe after I came back from America. I hadn't been able to spend much time with the Oz team, and so I think I missed a window on that. With Tokyo being pushed back, I'm actually not quite sure how it's all going to work, with if the team will be opened or what will happen. But if there's anything I can do to make the team or help the team in any way, then, you know, I'm definitely going to do that. And then after that, hopefully I'll take my my water polo over to Europe and try and play over there and for the next couple of Olympic cycles. So
you definitely have a dream of representing Australia at the Olympic Games, if it's not Tokyo or Paris or LA. Yeah, no, definitely not. If it works out that Tokyo isn't on the cards, well, you know, I got to go to America for the last 4.5 years and, you know, get my degree and meet all these people, and, you know, now I can commit to it for the next lot. So yeah, definitely looking forward to playing a lot more water polo in my life. Just the beginning. Excellent. Luke Pavillard, really appreciate you taking some time here. Congratulations again as a finalist, and best of luck getting back in the pool when everyone's allowed to start up water polo again. And now we turn to women's college water polo, and unfortunately, it's hard to have a night like this, the Cutino Award ceremony, and not be able to recognize excellence in women's collegiate water polo. Determined that not enough games were played this year to have a women's winner or finalist for the Cutino Awards, and all we can say is we know that women's college water polo will be back stronger than ever in 2021, and we are very excited to recognize a winner there at the Cutino Award ceremony at the Olympic Club in San Francisco. In the meantime, there were All-American awards handed out. The Association of Collegiate Water Polo Coaches, the ACWPC, distributing their honors earlier this year, and a lot of the top teams were honored, a lot of the best athletes recognized. We don't know what this season would have looked like. You had teams off to great starts in conference play. You had the defending champions in the mix in the Stanford Cardinal. You had up-and-comers from around the country. This is an Olympic year prior to the postponement. Many of the top athletes redshirt to train with their countries. Who is going to get a chance to shine brightly for their team? These are questions, unfortunately, we don't get to answer, but we do want to show love and support for women's college water polo. Let's talk about a few of the All-American selections that were recognized here in 2020. We know that they're going to do big things, whether they come back next year or wherever else their water polo journey takes them. On that first team, Stanford well represented with the goalkeeper, Emilia Eichelberger and Sarah Klass. Brigitte Mulder representing the Cal Bears. UC Irvine, Tara Prentice, one of the standouts for Dan Klatt's team. Abby Hill, one of the best freshmen you could find all year long. Hawaii and USC also represented well. Kelsey McIntosh and Denise Mamalito. How many big games have those two been involved with? Arizona State big on the second team, as was UC Davis, Noelle Weinbelt. How about Sarah Snyder of UC Santa Barbara? And, of course, Bailey Weber, as USC always turns up on these All-American rosters with how strong they are. On to the third team, Long Beach State in the house, as was Fresno State. Tina Doherty from Indiana University. Great balance here. Long Beach State also well represented with a second selection. And then this was nice. The honorable mention category, it featured a whole host of athletes, especially a chance for seniors to be recognized. So perhaps a bit of a longer list than what you're used to, but a great job by the ACWPC and coaches around the country to help recognize so many of these seniors around the country that their careers, they were cut short. They won't get that chance to come back. We know some will have the opportunity, but others, this was the end of their college career. And so in some small way, they get to be honored. So as a reminder, women's college water polo, thinking about all of our athletes here tonight at the Cutino Awards, and we're looking forward to next year when the season begins anew in January, and we can once again honor a Cutino Award winner, June 2021. And we're getting close to sending things off to the Olympic Club in San Francisco, where our MC on site, Chris Dorst, is standing by, the usual MC for the honors in San Francisco. We're looking forward to getting things off to Chris shortly. Before we do that, though, let's recap what is ahead as we look at the presentation coming along for the 2020 Cutino Award in men's college water polo. First up, how do you decide the winner? If you're new to the Cutino Award, this honor is voted on only by Division I college coaches, and past Cutino Award winners, a great way to involve the history of the Cutino Award. And we've heard from some past winners such as Cami Craig and Sean Kern already here tonight. Also, you can only vote for the gender that you coach, so you can't have a men's-only coach voting for the women's winner and vice versa. Of course, there are some coaches that do coach both men's and women's programs. So that's a look at how the honor is selected. The all-time winners, we mentioned a couple already. Here's the list again. And if you've followed international water polo, Olympic-level water polo, a lot of these names look familiar because much of this list has gone on to represent the USA national team or the national teams of their respective countries around the globe. It is a who's who of talented players. You're looking at Olympic gold medalists, world champions, and much more. It isn't just athletes that have already accomplished great things. It's ones that are going to go on to do a lot more. Sometimes the Cutino Award ceremony, it is just the launching off point for what becomes a stellar career in the sport of water polo. Let's give one last look at our finalists on the men's side. Representing University of the Pacific, Luke Pavillard, a returning finalist. Representing Bucknell University, the first ever finalist for Bucknell, Rowdy Yoksimovic. And the defending Cutino Award winner, representing Stanford University, Ben Halleck. And now, without further ado, let's send things off to my good friend Chris Dorst, who's standing by at the Olympic Club in San Francisco to help us find out who is the winner of this year's Cutino Award, recognizing excellence in college water polo. Chris?
Welcome to a quiet city by the bay where we look to honor the best our sport has to offer. After a hard-fought season of men's collegiate water polo, 3 candidates vie for the nation's top honor, the Peter J. Cutino Award.
Passion, tradition, excellence. These are the foundations of water polo's top award. For over 20 years, it has been a great symbol of the commitment made by the student athletes who vie for it, and a point of pride for those who pour their heart and soul into their teams. The road to get here isn't easy, but these nominees know it all too well. It's a road filled with adversity and accomplishment, frustration and elation, victory and defeat. These players are considered to be the best our sport has to offer. Who will win the coveted Cutino Award?
Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the Olympic Club of San Francisco, welcome to the 21st Annual Peter J. Cutino Awards. I'm Chris Dorst, and I'll have the privilege of serving as your Master of Ceremonies once again this evening. Now, normally on the first Saturday in June, Post Street is buzzing as a full house of people are arriving for the annual Cutino Awards. But this year, just a block from an empty Union Square, the street outside is quiet, and so is the club, due to the coronavirus pandemic. But undaunted, we will do our best to keep this annual celebration of water polo alive with this webcast event. Now, it's eerie that in this room that's been filled with loud and raucous stories with some of the best water polo players and coaches in the country, tonight we'll only be handing out one award. You know, it's heartbreaking that the women's collegiate season was cut short this year. In a season when many of the top collegiate players had taken the year off to train for the Olympics with their respective national teams, we were all looking forward to one of the most competitive seasons in recent memory. And to get an expert's perspective on that, we want to bring in the U.S. women's national team head coach and the pride of Mountain View High School, Adam Krikorian.
Hey everyone, Adam Krikorian here with USA Water Polo. Cutino Awards coming at you virtually this year. Incredibly bummed we're not in San Francisco at the Olympic Club. Let me tell you, there's nothing like an evening. It's literally, I think, my favorite evening of the year because it's a great celebration of the late, great Pete Cutino. It's a wonderful celebration of and for our sport and the people involved. I don't think we get too many opportunities, non-competitive opportunities in our sport where we can all kind of sit back and relax and enjoy each other's company. And Cutino Awards has always provided that, I think, for those that have had the opportunity to attend. And obviously it's a great night because it's a celebration of the best athletes in our sport. And unfortunately, that's not going to happen this year on the women's side. And I know it's been incredibly disappointing for so many. And I'm certainly not going to be able to say anything here in this video that's going to make anyone feel any better. However, I will just quickly touch on a couple things that I missed this year that I'll know I will see in 2021. And one of those is just the spirit and camaraderie that you see on a daily basis, whether it's in the training or the games that I'm able to witness. There's nothing like that spirit, the enthusiasm and the energy that comes with college water polo. The second thing is just the competitiveness. You know, I'm a firm believer, as is a lot of people, that we have the best women's league in the world, and to watch not only our country's best athletes, but the world's best athletes compete on the NC2A level is just an honor and a privilege and inspiring to watch for myself. And I guess lastly, I'd like to give a special shout out to the seniors. For those that I think are going to be coming back next year and really get kind of that second chance. You don't get too many second opportunities in life. And if you're one of those, take advantage of it and start gearing up for your second senior season. And for those that are moving on to greener pastures, good for you. Hopefully, and I know this is going to be true, that you've taken a lot of life lessons and you've earned and forged a lot of relationships that are going to last a lifetime. And there's nothing greater than that. I respect all of you, and I would really look forward to watching a highly competitive 2021 season. So be well, stay safe, and hope to see you on a pool deck soon.
Thank you very much, Adam. And now for the reason we're all here. To present the Men's Award for 2019 is Olympic Club member and Cutino Award trustee, Peter Conti.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you, Mr. Dorst. And thank you to all of you in the water polo family for continuing to support us here at the Olympic Club in our efforts to acknowledge the best collegiate water polo players for this, the 21st annual Peter J. Cutino Award. This is the night we honor the best collegiate players in water polo in the name of one of the most celebrated coaches of all time, former coach at UC Berkeley, former coach and member here at the Olympic Club, the late great Mr. Peter J. Cutino. Unfortunately, this year we were limited to only giving out the 2019 Men's Award due to the coronavirus pandemic, but a special acknowledgement of Kelly Rulon, the 2007 Cutino Award winner who was just named to the USA Water Polo Hall of Fame. For the very few of you who are here in the room, and for most of you who are watching online, we hope this is the celebration of excellence in our sport that you've come to expect from us here at the Olympic Club. The Peter J. Cutino Award was created here at the Olympic Club in 1999. It was a collaborative effort between the club's board of directors and the club's water polo program, and the intent was to inaugurate and establish a major collegiate sports award for water polo, and the club's long history of excellence in the sport made it a natural fit. The award has grown over the last 20 years, allowing us to celebrate this, the 21st year of the award, and in the words of our inaugural speaker, Mr. Peter Ubroth, it has become the Heisman Trophy for water polo. Coach Cutino was a force in water polo, and many young players' lives have been shaped by his guidance, his inspirational style, and his mastery of the game. I certainly count myself as lucky to be one of them. Cutino was a 25-year coach of UC Berkeley, an Olympic head coach in 1976, among many, many other esteemed positions and achievements. His college teams earned 8 national championships and a 519 to 172 and 10 career record during his tenure. His last team in 1988 won a school record 33 games on the way to a second straight NC2A title. Cutino coached 68 All-Americans, 6 Pac-10 and NCAA Player of the Year, and 5 Olympians. His no-nonsense style was tough, but fair, and his Italian blood ensured a very vocal commitment to the game. My favorite quote about Pete was from one of his former players, current Cal coach Kirk Everest. He taught us that anything worth accomplishing would not come without discomfort, and he was always there, happy to administer the discomfort. Coach Cutino was a firm believer that hardship and adversity made people stronger. Success was not measured by a singular event, and sports could reveal and illuminate character. We have a few videos for you.
The Olympic Club of San Francisco is the oldest athletic club in the United States. Since its founding in 1860, it has served men and women of all ages by enriching their lives through participation in the club's wide range of social activities, fitness programs, and organized sports. Teams and individuals representing the Olympic Club have produced over 20 Olympic medal winners, as well as achieved national and international recognition in a wide variety of sports. With a long and illustrious history in the sport of water polo dating back to the turn of the century, the Olympic Club is proud to celebrate the sport of water polo by annually recognizing the female and male collegiate water polo players of the year.
And it's been said, and it's really true, that the greatest names in the history of our sport are here tonight. They truly are. And they are a team, and they are a family, and tonight you join their ranks. You know, in sport is something we take too serious, and other times not serious enough. To me, it seems to reflect a noble and notable sentiment that those that sacrifice the most to achieve a goal are the happiest of people.
Embracing both the sport of water polo and one of its legends, Peter J. Cutino, the Olympic Club formed the Peter J. Cutino Award in 2000, celebrating the very best in collegiate water polo. The namesake of this award is the winningest coach in water polo history, winning 13 U.S. water polo and 8 NCAA championships during his 26-year career as head water polo coach at the University of California at Berkeley. Pete Cutino was named NCAA Coach of the Year 4 times and nurtured 68 NCAA All-Americans, 6 NCAA Players of the Year, and 5 Olympians. As coach for the Olympic Club, Pete Cutino coached over a 12-year span, winning 4 U.S. Open National Championships, 2 World Masters Championships, and 10 Masters National Championships. 4 of his players received U.S. National MVP honors, and 8 players were current or past USA Olympians. Respected and admired by his peers for his knowledge of the game and ability to develop, motivate, inspire, and be a role model for his athletes, Pete Cutino was elected into the U.S. Water Polo Hall of Fame in 1997.
You know, it's true that the problems of victory are more agreeable than those of defeat, but they are no less difficult. Let me explain it to you. You are, tonight, recipients, you are the champions. To be the champion. The champion becomes the mark, the standard to achieve, to beat. The greatest effort is against the champion. Moral victories are gained against the champion. And if the champion perseveres, then the pressures become that much greater. It is a tough, tough road to hoe, but it is as it should be. It is competition, which is the basis of excellence.
A member board of trustees has been appointed to properly care for this award, the annual celebration that's happening right now, including this webcast, and to oversee the selection process to ensure the integrity. A quick extra thanks to Gary Crook, who handles all of the back end behind the scenes processes that make this thing possible. I should emphasize that the board does not affect the vote, it just ensures the validity and the honesty of the process. So let me introduce the committee members. Ms. Julia Sesnick, Mr. Andy Burke, Commissioner of the Women's Water Polo Team, Ms. Nicole Hughes, Commissioner of the Men's Water Polo Team, Maureen Bollering, Executive Director of the Cutino Award, and this club's Athletic Director, Mr. Gary Crook, and myself, Peter Conti. The selection of the award winners is completed by employing a double vote process. Voted on by the collegiate coaches nationwide and former winners of this award, the candidates must be academically qualified and are considered for both their individual achievements and their contributions to their teams. After the first vote is taken, the ballots are counted and 3 finalists are identified. Then a second vote is taken and the finalist emerges. Now, typically each finalist and their coach are flown here to the award ceremony courtesy of the Olympic Club. We're going to have to improvise this part a little bit. So through the magic of video, hopefully we can present this in a compelling way in the moment we've all been waiting for. Let's have a look at the finalists for this year's Men's 2019 Cutino Award.
Ben Halleck has quickly become a standard bearer for excellence in collegiate water polo. He is a model of the determination and grit needed to build a championship caliber player, and when he's in the pool, people take notice. Halleck started turning heads at an early age. In his days at Harvard Westlake, he received accolades as a 2-time CIF Division I Player of the Year and was twice named a Los Angeles Daily News Player of the Year. He brought that clout to the Cardinal, where in his first year he scored in every game he played in. He ended the season with 56 scores, first-team All-MPSF honors, and was the MPSF Newcomer of the Year. In 2018, Halleck couldn't be stopped. He scored multiple goals in 19 contests, with hat tricks in 12 of those games. In a mid-season bout with UC Irvine, Halleck bombarded the Anteaters with 8 total goals. His efforts in the 2018 season did not go unnoticed. He was honored as the MPSF Player of the Year, the ACWPC Player of the Year. He was elected to the first-team All-American roster and became the 2019 Peter J. Cutino Award recipient. What does a player do after a season like that? He tops it. In 2019, Halleck registered 73 total goals. He recorded 22 multiple score games with 5 or more goals in 7 of those matches. Remember that 8-goal game in 2018? He did it again. Only this time it was against the 7th-ranked Cal Bears. In the NCAA Championship Tournament, Halleck scored the overtime game winner to defeat the USC Trojans, halting their run of 13 straight trips to the NCAA Championship Final, all part of a Cardinal victory in Stockton. In 2019, Halleck's hard work earned him ACWPC Player of the Year honors, Mountain Pacific Sports Federation Player of the Year honors, and a national championship. When Rowdy Joksimovic arrived at Bucknell, his impact was powerful and immediate. He brought with him years of hard-earned experience, and for 4 straight seasons, he made his presence known. Joksimovic started his collegiate career off with a bang. In his first appearance as a Bison, he scored 7 goals in a bout against MIT, a feat that would start a trend for the high-scoring attacker. As the season went on, he recorded 3 double-digit goal matches, including a game in which he broke the 17-year-old Bucknell record for goals in a game. He put 14 on the board that day. He finished his freshman year with 154 goals and was named a third-team ACWPC All-American, MAWPC East Region Player of the Year, and the MAWPC Rookie of the Year. But Joksimovic was just getting started. In 2017, he netted multiple goals in 25 of 31 games and led the Bison with 141 points on 106 goals and 35 assists. In 2018, he averaged 3.5 goals per game against ranked competition and recorded 128 goals and 80 assists, which combined for the most points by a Bison since Scott Schulte in the 1977 season. In his senior year, Joksimovic continued his dominant ways. He scored 139 goals and logged 42 assists, including the 6 goals against Harvard that helped the Bison earn their first NCAA tournament win since 1985. His performance earned him the MAWPC Tournament MVP Award, MAWPC Player of the Year for the 4th straight season, and the Bison's first-team ACWPC All-American selection. It didn't take long for Luke Pavillard to become the backbone of the Pacific men's water polo team. The Australian native came to play, and his reliable persistence helped elevate his team to dominance. In 2016, Pavillard got right to work. In his first 12 games, he recorded 25 goals and 12 assists with 8 multi-goal performances. He would miss the rest of his freshman season due to injury. However, in the following year, he would pick up right where he left off. As a sophomore, Pavillard compiled 81 goals and 36 assists for a combined 117 points. He scored in 26 of Pacific's 27 matches and enjoyed 6 straight games with at least 3 goals. He also showed his defensive prowess by recording 12 games with at least 3 steals, including a career-defining 7 takeaways against number 10 UC Santa Barbara. Pavillard took that momentum deep into the postseason, where he scored 4 goals in the NCAA quarterfinal against number 8 UC Davis and a hat trick against UCLA in the NCAA semifinal. These performances helped solidify him as the Golden Coast Conference Player of the Year, alongside securing his spot as a Peter J. Cutino Award finalist. A year later, he would continue to dominate. He recorded 78 goals and 29 assists for 107 total points and tallied 17 hat tricks. In 2019, Pavelard's consistency remained true. He ranked in the top 5 in the Golden Coast Conference with 64 goals, 34 assists, 98 points, 33 steals, 2.78 goals per game, 4.26 points per game, and a GCC leading 1.48 steals per game. He posted 15 multi-goal performances with 5 goals against Pepperdine in the NCAA semifinal and a hat trick in the national championship game against the top-seeded Stanford Cardinal. By the end of the season, Pavillard earned his 3rd straight Golden Coast Conference Player of the Year award, a place on the first-team All-American roster, and Peter J. Cutino finalist honors.
Nice work, gentlemen. And a sincere congratulations to all the men this year. The winner of the 2019 Men's Cutino Award is Mr. Ben Halleck from Stanford University.
It's hard to express my feelings on being named the Cutino Award winner for a second time. I'm so thankful to the Olympic Club and the Cutino family for their continued support within the water polo community. To be recognized by the water polo coaches around the country is an honor. Congratulations to Luke and Rowdy on your nominations and your unbelievable careers. To have an Australian and Serbian as finalists for the Cutino Award demonstrates that collegiate water polo provides opportunities beyond borders and nationalities. To my parents, I cannot express my gratitude for all the support and love you have given me, and for the sacrifices you have made. The energy and emotion you have given to my academic and athletic career is something I will never be able to repay both of you, and you are my true heroes. My sister Morgan, thank you for being my best friend and being there to support me through every step of my career. I admire your natural ability to lead, and I'm always looking forward to what you will do next. Finally, to my girlfriend, Alban. You have been my rock at Stanford. I love your pep talks before the game, fist bumps during the game, and the general acceptance of the nonstop smell of chlorine after the game. The LPGA Tour isn't ready for what you're going to be bringing on the course later this year. To my teammates and coaches at Stanford, John Vargas, John Barnea, Brandon Johnson, Lee Maurer, Dr. Dutch, Sanam, Drew Holland, and every one of my teammates. You are all what makes this game worth it, and I will cherish memories of this last season for the rest of my life. Water polo has taught me so many lessons that extend outside of the lane lines. In both the pool and in life, you create a game plan. After the fall season, I took a leave of absence from school in order to commit to training full-time for the Olympic Games. I anticipated playing my 5th year at Stanford and created an academic schedule to graduate with an additional minor in the spring. Life was planned, my objectives and goals were clear. Just like water polo has shown me numerous times, the game is always different from what you planned. We entered a world pandemic, and all of our lives ground to a complete halt. Water polo has taught me not to react, but how to respond to change. The game has shown me not to dwell on what has already happened, but to instead look forward and focus only on things you can control. My longtime coach and friend Brian Flax once shared this quote with me at a young age, and I believe its message is even more important with regards to unfolding events in the last few months. God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and wisdom to know the difference. More than ever, it is imperative that we challenge the status quo and wake up every day striving to become a better version of ourselves. Again, thank you to the Olympic Club, the Cutino family, and USA Water Polo for hosting the Cutino Awards.
Congratulations again to Luke, Rowdy, and to Ben. Ben winning his 2nd Cutino Award in a row. Now that wraps up our event for this evening. I would personally like to thank the Olympic Club and its tireless athletic director, Gary Crook, for their continued support of this award. Ladies and gentlemen, next year, the very last weekend in May, we're going to be right here in this historic ballroom for the 22nd Annual Peter J. Cutino Awards. We'll see you then.
Well, it was a different Cutino Awards this year in 2020, but an exciting chapter has been added as yet again we have a repeat winner. Congratulations again to Ben Halleck from Stanford, a 2-time winner for the Cardinal, fresh off an NCAA championship, the first of his collegiate career, and one of those players that we expect more great things from in the future. He has more college water polo to play. He has more national team action to play. Ben expecting to be part of Team USA at the Tokyo Olympics next summer. So as we close things out tonight, thanks to all of you for watching our special 2020 Cutino Awards digital presentation. A big thanks to our friends at the Olympic Club, Chris, Peter, and Gary, our producer, Jake Mader, and for me, your host, Greg Meskel. Thanks so much again for watching us. We know this is a challenging time. We hope wherever you are, you're feeling well and healthy, staying safe. And we want to let you know water polo will be back soon, and we are excited to watch it. Whether it was the men's college water polo season, that was one we won't soon forget, with Stanford winning their first title in more than a decade. Or if it was a women's college water polo season that was cut short far too early, both will be back. We'll look forward to cheering you all on, and we look forward to being back inside the Olympic Club come June 2021 to honor, once again, the best in college water polo. Have a great evening. Take care.